We're back at the Lincoln New World Charger for yet another BYD E6 range test, this time the version with hills. Alrighty, so we're at the Lincoln New World Charger, leaving for another quick range test. We are going to do the hills version. We've got a friend who lives over in Akaroa. They live up the back of Akaroa, so very, very steep. So we're going to drive over Akaroa Hill, up to their place. I think they live on a big long gravel road, and we'll see if we can get there and back on a charge, and how much energy we actually use. So yeah, leaving the lovely town of Lincoln, we will be driving down Hudson's Road, through the back of Waitara, and then via Little River, over the hill and up into the back of Akaroa. Naturally, we're going to go to Akaroa and have some fish and chips, because that's what you do. Anyone from Canterbury will know just how steep this trip is, especially once you get over the hill and into the back of Akaroa. There's some very, very steep roads up there. We are having a quick stop in Lincoln to do the very important job of voting in your local elections. People don't realise just how much control their local council has, and people need to vote. It's as important as any other vote you do. The abysmal turnout we see in New Zealand for local body elections is very disappointing. And here we are at the first little dot on the map. This is Waitara. We're just about to turn onto the main road over to Akaroa. We've done 14.5 k's, although we were a couple of kilometres into the trip before I remembered to push the trip counter button, so that was not correct. And we were only 98% state of charge when we left, so we've used roughly 4% so far. It says we've got 374 k's left, and the trip to Akaroa I think is about 75 k's, but it is very steep, so it'll be interesting to see how that affects things. So here we are in Little River. This is a really cool little Canterbury town. There is the Little River Gallery, which is a really interesting place. Lots of local artists. There's also a great cafe there, and if you look over there, you can see there is in fact a 22 kilowatt charger. Where that Subaru's parked, he shouldn't be there. I'd be having him towed, which this car can use. And up here we've got the silo stays. That's another really interesting Canterbury thing. We've not stayed there, but we're certainly going to one day. And we just very shortly will be heading into the big hill. Alrighty, so we have started up the big hill. It'll be interesting to see how the old girl performs on this quite steep piece of road. I'm actually going to take it out of eco mode and put it into sport mode. Not that it's particularly sporty, but it just gives you better throttle response in the mid-range. So in the eco mode, it's only allowed to draw 40 kilowatts unless you put your foot to the floor, which is really useful if you're wanting to travel a long way and you've still got that power available. But because we're going up a reasonably steep hill, it's nice to have sort of a bit in the mid-range. I mean, at the moment, it's perfectly fine. You would expect it to be. I mean, it has 450 Newton meters of torque, so this really should be completely effortless for it. And it is. I mean, it's significantly better than my diesel truck coming up here. So I've got a Nissan Terrano, a 1991 one, and this is far, far more gutsy and effortless. And if we look at the current power use gauge, you know, we're sitting around 30 kilowatts. So usually it would sit around 20 when I'm really trying to hypermile it. So it's not, you know, considering this hill's only probably 3 or 4 k's long, it's really not a big deal. Okay. So one cool thing with this car that, you know, like my old diesel Terrano, which we usually drive over here in, is way better, is that where the Terrano has a limited rev range, so it's really only, you know, any good between sort of 2,000 and 4,000 RPM, so it's constantly changing gear and revving up. This only has one gear, so we've got a slow guy in front of us, and we're getting down to sort of 30-40 k's an hour, but you know, there's no gear changes. It's completely smooth. All of the torque is available all of the time, so put your foot down, it just goes straight away, no nonsense. Alrighty, so here we are at the top of the Akaroa Hill. I'll stick a it back into eco mode, and as you can see, the view is truly amazing. Now we should regain a whole bunch of energy here. Like as you can see on the gauge, now we are gaining power as we go down the hill. So obviously the motor works as a generator, and now we're getting 26 kilowatts per hour of our current draw is minus 26 kilowatts, so there's energy going into the battery, and so it'll be like that for the next 5 or 6 k's. So during that part of the trip, we will in fact charge our battery. So usually you'd be using your brake pads and maybe your engine to slow down, but with an EV like this, you use the engine, you basically use your electric motor as a generator, and you charge your battery. So not only do you not wear your brake pads, but you also gain all that power back. It's great. So we are pretty much at the bottom of the hill. We're arriving in Barry's Bay. We've done 58.2 k's, and we're down to 83% state of health. Interestingly, so at the top of the hill we'd done 52.7 k's, and we were at 81% state of charge. So we've actually gained, you know, several kilowatts hours going down the hill. So that's a real benefit. You know, a lot of people say, you know, electric cars, they're no good on the hills, but actually they are better because you have much more torque and you get back all your energy going down the hill, or not all of it, but about 75% generally. And you don't wear your brake pads. There's no overheating your brakes. Alrighty, so here we are, headed into the really steep stuff. It'll be interesting to see just how we go. We are 68.8 k's into our trip. We've got 80% state of charge. Thinks we're going to do another 317 k's, and obviously we will be using significantly more energy going up these steep hills than we do on the flat. But we will get a lot of it back when we come back down them again. The views from up here are just spectacular. This is a really amazing place to live, and certainly worth a visit. You can just about commute in this car from here, and it would be quite an economical proposition, really. You know, I mean, this trip here is going to cost us, I don't know, it might be $3 or something like that, maybe $5. Fuel just becomes irrelevant. So we've done 74 k's so far. We are out the back of Akaroa. Beautiful views. We are just on our way after visiting our friends, heading down to the town for fish and chips. But she's handled the gravel, it's the steep gravel driveway, just fine. So here we are in beautiful Akaroa, and look, over there is a 22 kilowatt AC charger if you wanted to use it. We have now done 77.2 kilometers. We're 78% state of charge, so we started with 98%, so we've used 20% coming over the hill, which end up into the back blocks to see our friends as well. So yeah, we're easily going to go to Akaroa from Lincoln and back again. No issues at all with the hill. In fact, better than our diesel vehicle. Now we're going to have some fish and chips in beautiful Akaroa. And here is something which we didn't know about, yet another AC charger and a Tesla park right there. And here we are at the Akaroa fish and chip shop. Delicious. Look what we found in Akaroa. It's the new MGZS. I haven't seen one of these yet. Yep, so we're just leaving Akaroa. We've done 80 k's. We've got 78% state of charge left. And I think we're going to do another 300, so we're easily going to get back to Lincoln. So entering Devotional. So we're now done 88 k's. We are 76% state of charge. So a lot of the last bit of the trip's all been downhill. So we've been regening pretty much the whole way. So we're back up the top of the hill from the other side. Get up here effortlessly, absolutely effortlessly. Okay, not quite at the top, but getting close to the top. Yeah, this thing's got heaps of torque. Like, it is very, very. In fact, better than my Leaf coming up here, I feel. Like, the Leaf is pretty good up here, but this, although it doesn't have the acceleration of the Leaf, it's just got insane amounts of torque. Like, it's pretty much exactly the same driving it up this hill as it is driving it on a dead flat surface. There's no difference. We are at the very top of the hill now. We've done 97.5 k's. We're at 70% state of charge. It will be interesting to see how much we gain going back down this side of the hill. So here we are now at the bottom of the big hill, just coming off on the Christchurch side, or the little riverside, and we've actually gained back another 2%. We've gone from I think it was 68% state of charge to 71% state of charge, and now we're at 104 k's, so we've done sort of 7 k's and gained back a whole bunch of energy. So here we are at the Little River Cafe, here for a coffee, and we're still at 71%, so going downhill obviously makes a huge difference. We're just passing by Lake Forsyth, so unfortunately this is a lake which is now hyper-eutrophic, so agricultural runoff and runoff from the deforestation around it here has effectively has badly damaged the lake. Now it's at the point where it gets algal blooms, and basically if dogs or animals stop drinking the water at certain times, they will in fact die. Really we're just telling you about this because of I guess the plight of Canterbury's surface water. Our waterways, lakes and rivers are all suffering pretty badly at the moment, just from mainly from agricultural runoff, to be honest. So we're back at the turn off to Waitara. We have done 135 k's so far. We've got 64% state of charge left, and it thinks we'll do another 247 kilometres. So we're re-entering Lincoln now. We are at 60% state of charge. We've done 149.3 k's, and it seems to think we're going to do another 232. So we are back at the New World in Lincoln. We have done 152.4 kilometres. We are at 59% state of charge, so we have used all of 39% of our battery to go all the way to Akaroa and back. In fact, further than that, because we obviously went up to the hills and saw our friends. Interestingly, while we were there, we met a guy and had a look at a guy who's just bought a brand new MG ZS, but it's the standard range version. And we had to talk about our ranges, and driving the same way we did on our first range test at 90 kilometers an hour. He can get 320 kilometers out of his brand new car. We can get over 330 out of one of these, just because the battery's so huge. It's not as aerodynamic obviously as the ZS, and it's a lot heavier, but you know, having a huge battery does solve a lot of sins, really. You know, if you've got a huge battery, you can go a long way.